Hello, welcome. My name is Melissa. I'm HealthWare's registered dietitian. This is our online Heart Healthy Nutrition class. Welcome. Today we are talking about oil, the oil that we eat, of course. We have so many options these days when it comes to choosing which type of oil to use for cooking or baking, drizzling, whatever it may be. Some are well known, like olive oil, and others are less familiar, like avocado oil. Before we discuss the pros and cons of each type of oil, let's talk about one important thing that relates to all oils, and that is smoke point. An oil smoke point is the point at which the oil starts to burn and actually starts smoking, hence called smoke point. If you heat oil past its smoke point, it not only harms the flavor of the oil, but it degrades many of the nutrients that are actually in that oil, and the oil can actually also release harmful compounds called free radicals. Free radicals damage the cells in our bodies and can cause health issues like cancer and chronic inflammation, neither of which we want. Free radicals can come from many sources other than the food we eat, actually, like cigarette smoke, environmental pollutants, radiation, drugs, pesticides. On the flip side of free radicals is antioxidants. You've probably heard of antioxidants before. Those are what counteract the free radicals and prevent them from damaging our bodies. We can get antioxidants from eating certain foods, actually. Plants. The main dietary antioxidants are vitamin C, vitamin E, and beta carotene. Now, back to smoke point. Smoke point, because of the smoke points and the negative health effects from them and from free radicals, you want to make sure you're using the correct type of oil for whatever your purpose is. Quick disclaimer though, just because an oil is good for our particular cooking method, that doesn't mean it's actually a healthy oil for us, okay? So we're going to talk through different types of food preparation methods and the types of oils that are best for them. First, let's talk about frying. Now, I don't recommend frying your foods very often. It's not the healthiest way to cook our foods. You probably already knew that. But if you're going to fry something, you want to make sure that you're using an oil with a high smoke point. A high smoke point is typically one that's above 375 degrees Fahrenheit. All the temperatures I say today are Fahrenheit. Some options for this would include canola oil, avocado oil, vegetable oil, safflower oil, and peanut oil. Those are some of the options. And again, not all of those are healthy oils for us on the spectrum of healthy to unhealthy. Now, baking. You want to use an oil with a neutral flavor for baking and one that doesn't have too low of a smoke point, because typically we bake at least 325 degrees. So something with a somewhat moderate smoke point is ideal. Some options for this is canola oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, and vegetable oil. Now, sauteing, kind of the similar to frying, but in a slightly less oily way is sauteing. You can use oils with lower smoke points for sauteing, and ones that are more flavorful based on whatever you're cooking. So some options for this would be, again, canola oil, extra virgin olive oil you could use for sauteing, peanut oil and sesame oil. That would be more for perhaps foods that you're trying to get more of an Asian flavor to, and those would be appropriate for sauteing. Now, for dressings and the non-cooking type of methods, you want to use oils that have, or you can use oils that have a low smoke point if you want. Ones that are more flavorful could also be used for this. So some options would be, again, extra virgin olive oil, flaxseed oil, and walnut oil. Those all have more of a unique flavor, and flaxseed oil and walnut oil in particular are not meant for cooking in general. They're more meant for the non-heat type of methods. Let's talk more specifically about some of the individual oils. I've mentioned several in that list, so let's talk about some of them specifically. We're going to start with the two that I recommend as being the healthier ones in the realm of oil. I want to say just in general, oil is not something that we should eat a lot of or incorporate a lot in our diets. Ideally, we want to eat other types of fats, avocados, whole olives, and whole nuts and seeds rather than the oils from them. But there are a couple options of oils that can have some health benefits for us. So the first is extra virgin olive oil. This is the one that's the most touted as heart healthy. It's high in healthy fats, the monounsaturated fats, but it has a relatively low smoke point. So extra virgin olive oil can be used for sauteing, like I mentioned, but it's best used for cooking below 375 degrees or so. So sauteing and any of the non-heat methods. And also if you're baking below 375, that would be fine as well. Extra virgin olive oil has more of a unique flavor. And so it's nice for some of the unheated type of foods. So you can actually taste that flavor. Excuse me. I also want to mention that extra virgin olive oil is not necessarily the same thing as olive oil. So when you're choosing the olive oil, you want to go with extra virgin olive oil. Okay. Next on the choose more list in the realm of oils is avocado oil. This oil has become more popular in recent years. I don't actually remember hearing about it at all when I was a kid. Avocado oil was not really a thing. I don't think back many years ago. It has a high amount of those heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, just like the extra virgin olive oil does, but it has a much higher smoke point actually. Some places say 400 degrees, some places say up to 500 degrees. So it's a very versatile type of oil. You can bake with it. It's also very neutral in flavor and typically has very minimal processing if that's something you're concerned about. It can be more on the expensive side, similar to extra virgin olive oil. That can be more expensive depending on the type you buy. Avocado oil can be a bit on the more expensive side too. You can get a pretty big bottle of avocado oil, I think at Trader Joe's. I want to say it's around $9. So it's one of the more expensive types of oils rather than some of the other ones we're going to talk about, like canola oil next. So canola oil is made from a plant called the rapeseed plant, actually, and it's low in those unhealthy saturated fats. So it doesn't have a lot of saturated fat in it. You'll often see a lot of you'll see canola oil as being advertised as a heart healthy type of oil. And it's not as bad as some of the others, but as far as heart healthy goes, avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil would be better choices. It does have a higher smoke point, so that can be helpful when you're cooking at higher heat type of methods. It has a higher smoke point though because of the chemical processing that is done to create canola oil. Some people don't like that canola oil is a chemically processed type of oil, so they avoid it. A lot of fried foods that you'll get commercially made or restaurants are cooked in canola oil, and it is a slightly less expensive type of oil. Peanut and sesame oils, I had mentioned those in the lists before. Those oils have a more unique type of flavor, but they're not really good for cooking because they have a really low smoke point. So peanut and, I'm sorry, I got mixed up. Walnut and flaxseed oils are the ones I'm talking about. Walnut and flaxseed oils have the low smoke point and unique flavors. So those ones we don't want to cook with. We want to use those in the non-cooking methods. Similarly, peanut and sesame oils have unique flavors as well, but they have relatively high smoke points. So you can use those in sauteing type of methods with Asian foods, that sort of thing that you saute because they have a high smoke point. Those types of oils are okay. You typically don't use those on a daily basis, peanut oil, sesame oil, because they do have a very unique flavor. So they're saved for more special type of dishes you might be cooking. Now, coconut oil is something that's very, very popular recently and a little bit less so in the last couple years, but a few years ago, it was very, very popular as being the best oil for everything, but that's not necessarily true. Unlike other plant oils, coconut oil actually contains a very high amount of saturated fat. The type of saturated fat is a medium chain triglyceride, which is different than the saturated fat that's in animal foods, which is a long chain triglyceride. So the body actually does process coconut oil saturated fat slightly differently. However, the bottom line is that coconut oil, the saturated fat in that, can raise your bad cholesterol as well as your good cholesterol, possibly. It can raise your bad cholesterol, so I don't necessarily recommend using coconut oil for very many things. It's a great lotion, I will say, but cooking with it, it's a lot of saturated fat in it. Now, vegetable oil, this one is similar to canola oil in that it's chemically processed and has a high smoke point, a very high smoke point. It's a very versatile oil. So you'll see it used for a lot of commercial or restaurant type of preparations because it has, like I said, a high smoke point and has a very neutral flavor. The term vegetable oil actually can refer to an oil that comes from many types of plant sources. So typical plant vegetable oils are a mix of canola, corn, soybean, safflower, palm, and sunflower oils. It's a mixture. Manufacturers can actually put any combination of plant oils into a vegetable oil, which isn't necessarily a good thing for the health of the consumer, because not all of those vegetable oils are as healthy as some of the other ones. They're not putting extra virgin olive oil in vegetable oil because that's expensive. So vegetable oil is not something that I recommend using a lot of. Again, I would go for avocado oil if you're going to cook something at a higher temperature, or extra virgin olive oil if you are cooking at a lower temperature or doing it in a raw preparation. Two more oils. Sunflower oil. This oil is high in vitamin E, which, as you remember, is an antioxidant, but it also contains a high amount of omega-6 fatty acids. While we do need actually some amount of omega-6 fatty acids, too much can be inflammatory to the body. We don't want to add to the inflammation in our body. Moderation is important with sunflower oil. I don't recommend it as a go-to oil to cook your everyday food. A lot of packaged food products these days, like chips, are actually cooked in sunflower oil because people think that sunflower oil is healthy, it's great for us, and in small amounts it's fine. But if that's the primary oil that you're getting in your diet, that can be too many of the omega-6 fatty acids and can cause inflammation in the body. The final oil I want to talk about is palm oil. Now, this one is very high in those unhealthy saturated fats, and we really should try to avoid palm oil as much as possible. Typically, it's not the type of oil that you're going to the store and you're not buying a bottle of palm oil. Instead, it's actually used more in our products, in our packaged products. It's an ingredient. And so you want to read the ingredients on the nutrition label of the product you're buying to see if the fat in it is palm oil. If there is palm oil in it, if it's high up on the ingredient list, ideally you want to choose a different product that doesn't have palm oil or has the palm oil at a lower spot on the ingredient list. An example of this would be peanut butter. A lot of the no-stir type of peanut butters have palm oil added to them. It helps, it's an emulsifier in some products. And so it helps keep that, it helps keep the peanut butter creamy. And so you don't have to stir it the way that it's processed, but they add palm oil to it, which you don't need palm oil added to your peanut butter. You already get oils that are from peanuts. So they add palm oil because of the processing and because of the nicer convenience of not stirring peanut butter. So when buying peanut butter, as an example, or any of the nut butters or seed butters, I recommend finding one that doesn't contain palm oil and sugar as much as possible. As I conclude about oils today, I wanted to take a moment, like I mentioned at the beginning, that it's best to limit oil intake in general. Oils are very calorie dense, meaning that they have a lot of calories packed into a very small volume of food. So they aren't ideal for weight loss or weight management or our overall health. To illustrate this, I wanted to share a picture with you. This is what I want to share with you. So this infographic is on calorie density. The white images are stomachs, and each one is filled with 500 calories of a different type of food. You'll notice that the stomach you'll notice the stomach with fruits and vegetables on the far side is completely full with 500 calories. And that's because those foods are not calorie dense. Fruits and vegetables are very low in calories compared to other types of foods, and they're very high in water. And so they're very voluminous in their size. With each of these progressing images, you can see that the stomach is less and less full from each of the types of foods. So next is the potatoes, rice, and beans, so those really starchy foods. And then next is meat. And then even less is cheese. And then you'll see all the way down at the end is the oil. So like I said, oil is very calorie dense, so it doesn't take very much oil to make up 500 calories, especially when we compare it to fruits and vegetables. Your stomach won't feel full on 500 calories of oil, whereas it will feel full on 500 calories of fruits and vegetables. So that can lead to eating way more calories than the body needs in order to have a full feeling stomach if you're eating a lot of oily type of foods. So in general, keeping your intake of oil low is helpful for weight management, for heart health in general, and for our overall health. Thanks for watching class today. I hope that you learned something new. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments. Until next time, bye.